Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Contest of Speed. This is AM2 Action with Burzy J, and alongside me is Perry the Dog. Perry, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, Burzy. Should be a fun race. Sochi, Russian Grand Prix, tough track for these guys, so it should prove to be an interesting race.
No, absolutely. It should prove to be an interesting race, like you say. The track limits here are very vicious. I participated in the EU2 race this afternoon and amassed quite a few warnings, so I'd imagine that the time penalties will be playing a big factor in the race.
Oh, yeah, definitely, and I believe we'll be able to utilize, and the drivers as well, the most recent update for the game, so I guess we'll see what happens.
Absolutely.
It'll be easy to keep track.
I'm just gonna check in with the drivers and find out weather and all that good stuff, but it looks like we've got a Alfa Romeo heading out on the track, the Alfa Romeo of Rumfresh. Rumfresh had a strong qualifying last week in the Netherlands, but some bad. I can't remember quite where he finished, but I don't know if it was the strongest finish for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's put together some solid points right now, tied with Arcaka right now for 11th place I have in the Drivers' Championship, so he's done a pretty good job, and that should be a close battle between him and Arcaka throughout the rest of the season.
Absolutely. So he's opted for the softs. It looks like we've got a few drivers opting for mediums for their first lap, as more of the drivers make their way around. Looks like we've got Steve AMG F1 from I believe he's EU3 filling in for us this evening for the departed Gru. Gru, we're thinking about you. You know, you got some stuff going on, so you're in our thoughts here, sir. And yeah, we'll look to see what Steve can put together this evening. He's EU3 confirmed that. So and
Steve's second crack at Sochi in 2 days, so it's been pretty busy, and maybe we'll have a little bit of an advantage over some of these AM2 drivers. Almost said AU2, and I'm not sure. maybe Australia Tier 2 in the future, but
yeah. Oh, Rumfresh getting a little squirrely at turn 1 there. I guess it's technically turn 2, but turn 1 coming around the Parabolica, looking nice and clean so far. Rumfresh just kind of picked up his pace as of late, so I'd imagine to see him have a strong qualifying here. I didn't do my research and look at the drivers' time trial times to kind of find out if certain drivers are really quick around here, but expect the usual suspects: Kitten Petter, Bodhod, SRS, and P-Dog are usually pretty quick.
yeah, for sure. And I think you mentioned, turn 3. The long turn 3, I guess it is reminiscent to some people about the Istanbul Park turn 8, which the Formula 1 guys just got done running, so maybe a little bit of connection to the real world F1 action, but it's nevertheless a pretty exciting corner, especially when you're trying to make a move around the outside, but Rumfresh navigated it pretty well, and we'll see where he is. I think a very good time for this tier, is probably in the high 130s at the best, and Rumfresh is a 132.4. Of course, this track really rubbers in as the session goes on, so these early times I don't think will be very accurate to what we might see at the end of the session.
Oh, absolutely. I think your times. Oh, as we have a retirement, it looks like. I'll hop on board with the Ferrari. Is that young DJ I can catch? Yeah, it looks like looks like P-Dog has crashed out in Sector 2. So unfortunately for P-Dog there, it looks like he's out of the session.
P-Dog's had an incident, and then Bodhot as well doesn't have a front wing. So he's
Oh,
been involved in something as well on the both of them. I guess were on installation laps or some
interesting.
sort of banker laps on mediums. And already we talk about a front runner P Dog. Now gonna have his work cut out for him starting in the back.
Yeah, it's not where you want to start, especially on a track like this. I found in the race today that overtaking can be quite difficult depending on what kind of a setup you're running, and you can really get towed along with the DRS around this track. So we'll see as we go along here if guys are able to make some ambitious overtakes, but otherwise I expect it to be pretty processional. There won't be, can't imagine there'll be a ton of overtakes tonight.
We're getting a lot of early times, and it is interesting to see Steve with that maybe a little bit of an advantage of running an early session, but he's a second up on Run Fresh for his fastest time, has the fastest second and third sector by quite a bit.
So I think as these drivers kind of settle in and their second and third laps come out, they'll start to close that gap down, but substantial gap already up to P1. But Amram sitting at 33.4 on the mediums. So interesting choice for these guys to hop onto the mediums. Must obviously be installation laps because I think the strategy here is a pretty easy soft to medium.
Yeah, it is, and I think, interestingly enough, the medium tire starting on it, I think it does come in hand around the middle, but the pit stop later on really throws you in the loop. So I think the soft to medium is probably, like you said, the easy strategy to go for it. There's no real strategy choices to make here. It's one strategy. So
Absolutely. I had the unfortunate mishap in the race today coming together with another driver and had to hop onto the hards at lap 1 and took them all the way to the end, and they didn't feel great for the first like 5 to 7 laps, and then they finally started to grip up. But if these drivers can avoid the hards, I think they should, because I think the mediums should be able to go all the way to the end, but we'll see. So quite a few drivers. Looks like Cream Media is on a lap. Nice.
he might be starting one or just heading to the pits. He's done a couple laps on these softs.
It's pit lane for him. Kitten Petter looks to be on a hot lap here. So Kitten Petter, I believe he's currently P2 in the championship.
Yeah, VTech is a little bit of ways ahead of Kitten, and hopefully Kitten doesn't catch him. Kitten is third in the championship, just 5 points behind Andrew. So, every race matters for those two. They're quite a distance behind Vodhad right now.
Yeah, Bada has had a very strong season so far. Oh, VTech getting out of the way.
Yeah, VTech invalidated. Yep. So.
There you go. Yeah, Bada's had a very strong season, and Kitten Petter has given him a run for his money, and Andrew had some very strong results early in the season, and if he wants to keep that lead over Kitten Petter, he's going to need to look for a really strong showing tonight, because Kitten Petter's been hot the last few weeks.
I think the thing about Andrew is he's just so consistent. He doesn't really dazzle and destroy the competition that Bodhad sometimes does, but he's, consistently always in the top 5. Usually, if race goes his way, top 3, third spot in the podium. So that's kind of how he stayed second for so long. Kitten Petter's had a strong middle section as he goes fastest, so maybe he'll get back on form. But the last couple of races have been kind of tough for Kitten Petter. Last week was gut-wrenching for him, unable to close the gap down to Bodhad at the very end, but still an exciting and valiant effort.
No, absolutely. Some fortunate DRS for Bodhad to run away with that race at the end, but yeah, it was an exciting battle the whole way through. Fun to see those guys battle it out. He's got some Cars moving out of the way for Andrew to finish a hot lap on mediums. Oh, he's getting on rear end a little bit oversteer there as he comes through the turns 14, 15, or 15, 16 chicane on to turn 17. And rounding the final corner. And he goes 12th fastest with a 33.2 on the medium tire. So, interesting choice for Andrew to set a time on the mediums, but I guess he needed to set a time. Otherwise, you risk being at the back of the grid with the likes of P-Dog. So, hopefully he can get a quick lap on the softs near the end.
Yeah, I'm going to mention Steve right now is entering sector 3, 2/10 up through the first 2 sectors, so might take the pole position back away from Kitten in just a moment. Of course, tough 2 final corners for him, 2 90-degree right-handers. Runs out of ERS as he exits the final corner, and he will go fastest once again.
It's a great lap for Steve, representing the EU side, with a very strong qualifying so far. So we'll hop on over. Who's coming around there? Is that Bodhod on a lap now? No, he's invalidated. What to see here is Kaz. Kaz is on a flyer, coming to turn 13. This is a very technical sequence of corners. And
it is, and I think as this game's gotten older and I think better, you definitely notice the hill into that left-hander, and it's very easy to, if you go too wide there, you'll just lose the back end completely. So.
No, absolutely, it is very technical. As Kaz sets a 34.9. Yeah, I think that with it being an off-camber corner, and then you do get a little bit of that bump at the apex, it does like to upset the car if you aren't sure on your turn-in and on your braking. So look to see some spins there. So Rogue has a 34.1 or 31.4, sorry, for P3, and Porge is currently P4. So strong showing.
RJP jumps to 5th.
Now we've got so HS Maria goes 7th fastest with a 31.9. Nope, running quite wide at turn 2. Now to see here, it looks like we've got Kit and Petter coming out. Oh, where are we here? Look, Kit and Petter is just coming out of the pits, looking for his final run, looking to claim pole position. Fitted the soft tire yet again. Looking for Google Dougal to come out and hopefully set a lap. And VTech is currently on track. I believe he is potentially on a hot lap.
Yeah, I think he's trying to set a time on these medium tires, but I don't know if they'll put him close to the top 10.
Yeah, and I think he's got like 10% ERS at the moment and counting down on this DRS straight, so that's going to affect his lap time too. He might be better off to just dive into those pits and jump on some softs.
Seeing quite a few invalidations as well, throwing things kind of for a loop. Some of these guys had to come in and pit, and we'll see if they'll have enough time to get another lap off. It'll be close.
Yeah, it'll be close.
As some of them, like Young DJ, are just calling it a quality session.
No. I mean, if you know your pace and you know you're not going to get a quicker time, then I guess we'll just wait it out. But we'll see. Here's Bodhod starts his hot lap, and Kitten Petter's right behind him. Great shot there from the cam crew. So
let's see one thing that Bodhod did in that entrance of turn 3. Some drivers like to do it as go take like a wide entry to that corner, but I think I found it, especially with the 2020 cars, they've got so much downforce, you can just send it down the inside and have it stick around the whole inside of that long left-hander.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, turn 3. Um, you're right. You're right, Perry. The cars have so much downforce that you can almost keep those left wheels on that left-hand curb the whole way through. So obviously increased tire wear, but maybe Bodhud feels there's a quicker line if you stay out a little bit wider. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's incredible how much downforce these cars have in this version of the game. And Bodhud coming into sector 3 now. Turn 15, the off-camber corner we were mentioning earlier. And turn 16.
Yeah, a little bit of a slide there. Might have been some dirty air from VTEC ahead.
Maybe.
Not
Oh, and he
good
invalidates. Bodhud unfortunately invalidates
standing.
on turn 17, so unfortunate.
He's going to be starting on the mediums.
Yep. And Kitten Petter aborted from his lap and is into the pit lane. And it looks like we've got a couple of the... Andrew should be on a lap right now, as is his teammate, Google Dougal. Should both be on hot laps. We'll follow on with Google Dougal, see if he can improve, if he can get a solid time on the board, jump into the top 10. But I'm surprised to see SRS sitting in the pit lane still. I'd expect him to be out on track already, getting ready to set a lap and get himself into the top 10.
Yeah, I think there's about 30 or 40 seconds actually more than what our clocks say, but yeah, I don't know if he'll be able to get out on time. It'll be pretty close.
Yeah, we'll see.
Andrew right now should improve as Google Dougal gets out of the way.
So Google Dougal letting his teammate by.
Ooh, he took a lot of curb.
So we'll hop over to Andrew and we'll ride on board with him the last few laps. Google Dougal's opting not to finish the lap and set a time, so he will indeed start from the back of the grid. And Andrew, very strong performance, 31.3 for P3. And Bodhod was able to sneak a time in, setting a 30.651 for a potential pole.
So he must have just done an extra lap on those softs. Yeah, that's what he did.
Yeah.
So somehow he had enough ERS. He might have done one just lap to go around, and then I don't know.
And it looks like both of those Mercedes cars also trying to get some laps posted as Rogue comes around the final corner and improves his time, jumping Andrew for P4, 31.2. So Perry, you were right. Top 3 drivers, all in the high 30s. And the rest of the drivers looking to be low to mid 31s. Inside the top 10.
Well, there's still time left in this session, so but Kitten's not going to make it around in time. Or is he? He's just going to cross the line. Checkered flags.
Rum Fresh is wrapping up a lap here.
We could have a battle for pole, though, between the two Mercedes as Steve is on a hot lap. And he invalidates.
Oh.
Commentator's curse.
Shoot. Rumfresh going quite tight to the pit wall. And it didn't look like he improved his time at all, unfortunately, there. So we've got a couple of cars that look like they are able to still finish out laps. Looks like Porch Power.
Two McLarens are on a lap at the moment.
Yeah,
Arkaka's
like
pretty much holding up Porge at this point.
Yeah, well, Porge is invalidated,
but...
so... Oh, and they're both going to dive into the pits. Okay. Alright, well, we'll jump on over, I think.
SRS is invalidated. At least I believe he has, yeah. On my screen he has.
iFinder is the only car the game is allowing to do a lap, but he's... Interesting, okay, so Oh, he thought that. It looks like he thought that. A little confusion there with Rum Fresh and iFunner. As they both kind of stopped to let each other by or something. It's interesting. So iFunner's the only one on track left to set a lap, by the looks of it.
Well, yeah, I think he's out of fuel or something. Or low fuel motor, I don't know, because...
I think so, because he is full throttle and he is hardly moving, so... And the red light is solid on there, so he must be out of fuel. So unfortunate for him.
So, yeah, an interesting grid. We've got two Mercedes P1 and P2.
Yeah.
Something that very common sight at this circuit, as for most circuits. But maybe not so in AM2, but Steve put together a great run, and Bodhad will start next to him.
Should be an exciting front row. Kitten Petter and Rogue A-Wing on the second, and then Andrew and Porridge on the third row. So that'll be quite the battle going into turn one with all those quick drivers right there.
Yeah, it didn't look like we would work out with most of the fastest guys up front, and I think the exception of P-Dog, we have easily the top three, I think, belong there. Andrew's right there, Porridge is right there, Rogue's right there. So, yeah, I mean, it could be pretty spicy turn one, I guess two rather, but yeah, we'll see if anybody feels brave.
Absolutely. So I think SRS is gonna have a tough battle working his way through the grid, and opting to qualify on mediums. And then we've got P-Dog, who unfortunately crashed out of the session. He will have to have his work cut out for him as we get into this race. But there you have your grid for the AM2 Russian Grand Prix Season 6. And we're just waiting for the drivers to get set up on the grid. For those of you tuning in tonight, would love to get your podium predictions, and Perry, I'd love to hear your podium predictions or race predictions if you got any spicy hot takes.
I think we'll see Porridge on the podium. I think we'll see a surprise McLaren podium. And I need to turn down my computer apparently, so got a little Discord message from VTech there, so he's a little frustrated and not feeling very confident from the back, but we'll see what VTech can do. But yeah, my bold prediction is seeing Porridge Power on the podium.
Interesting. I think that's a very bold prediction. I think we could see Rogue jump up there and maybe steal a spot away from Kitten Petter, but he's gonna have to have a lot of things go right to make that happen. Those top three guys are quite quick, so it'll be interesting to see. And I think it'll be a Mercedes double podium tonight as well, but who knows? Who knows? All right, so in the chat, we've got Bodhad, Kitten, and Steve in different orders, but they don't think those top three are going to change at all, so we'll see what happens. Oops.
Yeah, it sounds easy to say that, but just knowing the way turn 2 has gone in some practices, I don't know if I have the same confidence. I also I got to think, maybe could see some distance in terms of physical where these guys are, what guys are at. Bodhad being from Australia, Steve being in the UK, Kitten being in the US, Berzy's hosting this lobby in Canada, so I mean we could see some interesting connections.
Right. My connection to the other drivers is usually pretty good, but
yeah, that's one thing, but then, ping from Australia to the UK is usually not the best, but yeah, we'll see. Bodhad usually has good connection, so not saying anybody has bad connection, I'm just saying it's the nature nature of the beast.
Yep. Yep, that's sometimes how it goes. Alright. Yeah, I think, I wonder what the highest penalty count we'll see tonight is, like, for time penalties. I'd imagine it's going to be like 15 seconds or something in warnings, but we'll see how
Very
far
well
these
could be.
very well
I'm
could be.
intrigued that a lot of the guys outside the top 10 went for soft tires still. Only Kaz, P-Dog, and Google are on mediums, and let's see, 5 of the 8 guys outside the top 10 are on soft tires still, so it's not going to see a lot of strategy in terms of the whole field, just 3 guys.
Yeah, interesting choice. But alrighty, the drivers pull up to the grid, and we're getting ready to get going. Got 5 lights. I'll let you take her away.
Yeah, 5 lights, a little bit of a glitch. Bodhod's revving up. Here we go, Russian Grand Prix is underway as Bodhod gets a great start, as well as Rogue Wing trying to go down the inside of Steve. Into turn 1, it's Bodhod. Side by side, Steve and Kitten's nowhere to go right behind Bodhod. Steve's got a pretty good inside run. He'll have the inside line into turn 2. He'll get a little touch from Rogue from behind. He'll slide up and make some contact with Bodhod, but so far we're relatively clean through turn 2. Bodhod, Steve, and Kitten, your top 3. As Rogue's going to run wide, and he's got some wing damage, so he'll drop back to 5th place, and Porridge up 2 spots to 4th.
Absolutely. I think Rogue got a little ambitious going into turn 1, and just a little bit of the dirty air. Downforce was not his friend there, and he drove into the back of Steve, and now he's got some wing damage, and unfortunately
we've got an early safety car as VTech has, I think, looking from the Skycam, as I was scrolling through the field, it looked like VTech just dropped it on his own. So.
Oh shoot! And it looks like SRS has been showing a black and white flag. Oh, so he's got a 5. He's got the 5-second time penalty that came up for something there. So.
Yeah, if you go to detail and then penalties, it tells you how many seconds penalties they have.
Oh, well there you go. Thank you. Yes. Okay. Good to know.
So, a pretty straightforward start, I would say. Bodhod did pretty well defending around the outside, and I don't think Steve wanted to make contact with Rogue and giving him a little extra boost. He really didn't have a choice. But outside of that, I mean, the top 4, Forge had a great start. Andrew, I think, lost some ground, and there are some early guys heading in.
Yeah, looks like Porridge might have some damage, and Rogue's gonna obviously replace his front wing. P-Dog jumping up the list already.
Yeah, it doesn't at least say on telemetry if Porridge's damage, so.
So Porridge is opting for the medium tire, which I think is interesting, Perry, because I don't think those mediums are going to go all the way to the end of this race, but maybe he's hoping that there will be another safety car and he can jump back on his softs to finish it out, but we'll see. If he's really good on it. Too quick for a safety car, but hard to the end is trash, says Lopez in the chat. And yes, I can attest to that because I pit on lap 2 of the race this afternoon, and the hards were not great. So he'll have to pit again, but I mean, a free pit stop, you might as well gamble it.
On VTech messaged me and says he got brake checks, so obviously didn't see it from here, but we'll take a look at it if he wants to turn it in, if he feels like he wrongly got crashed or something. So
absolutely, yep, just send it in and the stewards will review it. So Kaz has also picked up 5 seconds. I wonder if he had some contact or something under the safety car, so he'll have to, or speeding in the pit lane perhaps, but
I think we're going to see a whole lot of black and white flags.
I think you're right.
So we had Rogue, RJP, and HS Herrera all change their wings in the pits. I think they were the only 3 to get wing damage, so everybody else out there, oh boy, we're really
we're really bunching
stacking up, yeah.
Bodhod has really bunched up the grid, but the safety car is still going pretty slow through those turns, so I'm not surprised that they bunch up. at turn 13, 14, but drivers just have to be careful that they don't wreck their wings or anything like that and get some unnecessary contact. Looks like Arkaka has also pit Perry onto the hards. So
the McLaren's getting their pit stops done early, but yeah, like you said, it's going to be a long race on those hard tires and deep in the traffic.
If Arkaka can do a good job of scrubbing those tires in under the safety car, he might be able to get them to hit peak operating levels right as we go green again, and then he might have a shot to take advantage of it being a free pit stop. But otherwise, I don't know if that's a tough gamble to pay off.
Yeah, one thing I think we should bring up that I didn't really notice, P-Dog has jumped up 9 spots, and Google Doogle's up 8 spots. Some of those obviously were pit stops, but nevertheless, you know, now you're in a contending position. I think after the safety car ends, then you'll have the medium tires. So I think this really gives them some early break to get through the field, get through some of the slower traffic that they would, you know, without a safety car would have to race their way past, and now gifted with some of the incidents and safety car, they'll have trouble, I think, keeping up with some of these guys on the soft tires. But yeah, I mean, that's exactly, I think, what P-Dog would have liked.
Yeah, no doubt. I think already jumping up 9 spots for P-Dog is probably the best case you can ask for at this time in the race, and who knows, maybe the reverse strategy will pay off late in the race, being able to jump onto the softs and pump out some great laps. And kind of like I was mentioning earlier during the qualifying session, like there's a good chance that he can get towed along from all these soft runners, which will help him out even more. So guess we'll find out. He will have SRS on those softs right behind him, pushing him hard, but those two like to battle hard as the safety car will be coming in this lap. So Bodhod will start to bunch the field up and let the safety car enter the pit lane.
Well, it's going to be who kept their tires with a temperature. It's, I think, with Russia not having the same amount of tire wear, it's difficult to keep those tires up to temperature, especially under safety cars. So we'll see. Bodhod's creating a pretty decent gap as the safety car will enter the pit entry after leading the first couple laps of the AM2 Russian Grand Prix here in Contest of Speed. Bodhod has hit it, the penultimate corner, and now we'll get to the launch across the start-finish line. We're under green flag racing, Kitten Petter all over the back of Steve, battling for second place. Kitten looks to the outside. Steve slides his Mercedes out there. Kitten will now look to the inside and cannot get it done under braking as Steve's defends to keep second. Gives Andrew a chance, now up to P4. And around the winding left-hander turn 3, Kitten will stay behind Steve, single file, second through 5th place at the moment. Little parade forming behind Steve.
I think Bodhod did a great job on the restart. Kind of caught Steve a little bit off guard while he was still trying to warm up his tires, and was able to stretch out to a decent gap already, and already out of DRS range. And now Steve's got to defend hard, so we're picking up some warnings or time penalties for P-Dog there.
Cream Media is spun, and fortunately for him, I think he hit the wall rear first, so stays in the race. But yeah, now slowly going to make his way to the pit lane. Wing damage.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Cream. Picking up some damage, it's not what you want late in the race, especially you're already at the back of the grid. We'll see. So he'll obviously jump onto the hard tires as well, I'd imagine.
So top 5 creating a gap amongst each other. Bodhod continuing to add in a couple tenths to Steve. really had almost a second lead after the safety car restart. So Kitten starting to fall back a little bit.
Ooh, RJP went for a brilliant move down the inside of turn 3 and was sticking along that inside curve of that parabolica that we were talking about earlier and caught Purge Power napping a little bit on those medium tires. So now RJP moving up to 12th place. So great overtake for RJP and the Red Bull.
I think Rogue almost lost the back end there, battling young DJ for 10th. Only a few
Rogue
battles we've got on track at the moment.
Rogue is on his gearbox right now. We'll look to see a nice little four-way battle here with Google and RJP involved as well. Oh!
Rogue, I think, went for it a little bit late, and then knocked his wing and then knocked RJP as well. Didn't have anywhere to go.
Yeah, unfortunate. Rogue getting unsettled a little bit. And the result was a little bit of wing damage from RJP, so tough racing there. As Amram and P-Dog are chasing down iFunner.
P-Dog's doing an awesome job keeping up with iFunner and really the rest of the gang. As those mediums should start to come in, with the safety car, should give the sauce a little bit extra life, so maybe they can go to lap 10 or 11.
Yeah, I think the preferred pit window starts around lap 10, and then I believe the game says you probably want to be pitting around a lap 11, so it'll be kind of up to how the drivers manage the tires if they want to pit earlier or later, but overall great racing. Oh, as Rogue goes for a very ambitious lunge and spins himself at turn 7. So, unfortunate move, or sorry, that was Porridge Power. My bad. So Porridge Power.
I was say, meanwhile, P-Dog has gotten past iFunner in the backstretch, and iFunner's also under attack from SRS, but SRS has to tuck in behind the Williams.
Oh, SRS showing a move.
Down the inside, not an overtaking spot, but nevertheless, they keep it clean, and iFunner will stay ahead.
Oh, iFunner did a great job defending there.
Yeah, terrific job defending, didn't lose his cool, gave SRS space, but there's just not enough room to really get a move done with the next corner, pretty much back-to-back. Go for it. Kitten's already on the back.
Kitten was on the back. I had Steve, and I thought he was maybe going to go for a move, but he ran out of road, had to tuck back in. But, Rogue getting by a young DJ at turn 2.
We also saw SRS get past iFunner for 7th, but you talk about that squabble between SRS and iFunner sector 3. That gave P-Dog about 2.5 seconds worth of breathing space as P-Dog picks up his second penalty already in just over 6 laps of action.
Yeah, P-Dog and young DJ currently sitting at 6 seconds. I love this new update. This is great that we can see the penalties quickly. Although our telemetry system is an amazing thing that we do have access to for other very important info on each of the drivers. So Kit and Petter hoping to close that gap back down to Steve.
Steve's also, I think, making some inroads to Bodhod. Steve might have DRS. He's probably not going to have DRS. For a moment there, he did. That's going to be close. Nope. I think Bodhod just gets through that third sector a lot cleaner than Steve. But Steve runs a lower downforce setup, and it makes it difficult for even people like Kitten to try to make a move. From Fresh Eyes Andrew for 4th place.
Look to see here. Google Dougal showing the mirrors of iFunner, but thinks better of it than the lunge on the inside. And Arkaka coming up on RJP. But nothing coming there. Yeah, I think you're right, Perry. I think Bada does a really good job in Sector 3, starting to build the gap back up on Steve, and then he's back out of the DRS range again. But Steve, with his low downforce setup, does a great job catching up in Sector 2 down that back DRS straight. So I wonder if he'll be able to make something happen here, as that's where they are right now.
Well, it's also worth noting that Kitten's not using a tremendous amount of ERS, so he's only gaining a couple tenths on Steve just because he's not really using any overtake to try to make the move to second place. And then, I mean, if you're this close already, there's no real need to try to make a move. As yellow flags in Sector 3.
Oh,
Not sure that's about.
Was that Rogue
Someone
potentially around? Or...
I don't think anybody got any damage.
Kittenpetter going for a move down the inside. Looks like he's able to make it stick. But Steve's going to be fighting right back. Steve used a lot more ERS to defend that time, so Kittenpetter's got the advantage there. But that was a great opportunity taken by Kittenpetter to get P2.
He's got it, and now he's gonna have to try and keep it. I mean, DRS is, I think, should be fairly easy for Steve to try and stay within a second.
Yeah, and I think if Steve is running a lower downforce, he might even get Kittenpetter here on this DRS straight. Oh no, he's quite a ways back though.
He has hardly any ERS to work with.
Yeah, we'll see. Rumfresh, is Rumfresh able to close down on Andrew? Just a little bit. Yeah, I think the biggest key for if Steve can hold off for a lap or two, charge up the ERS, and just tuck in behind Kittenpetter, let Kitten tow him around the track, and they work as a team. Oh, as Kitten has opted for an early pit stop, diving into the pits. Or as I was going to say,
yeah, depending on where the field is bunched out to, the undercut seems to work fairly well. The medium tires do take about a lap to really get into their window, but I almost think this might be too early with Kitten just because of the safety car and having had relatively no full use for the sauce in those first 3 laps. They should be able to go, you'd think, maybe lap 11 or 12, so we'll find out where. I mean, he's obviously only trying to jump Badahad here, so does have relatively empty road ahead of him, about 3.5 seconds to Rogue Wing ahead of him, so
yeah, I guess we'll see if that undercut pays off.
Probably one of the few ways to make up ground and make up places here in Russia. Obviously, he had to use and had to battle for about 4 laps behind Steve before he was able to make a pass on track. So a lot easier would be to try to make it into the pits. I think this puts Badhad and Steve on the hot seat. Obviously, only one of them can come in this lap to cover off Badhad. So
Rogue is going to be going for a move on Arkaka potentially down the back DRS straight. We'll see. Oh, never mind. No luck there. But
Arkaka or RJP had a moment.
Yep.
Rogue's going to be on the inside. We give each other space. They had some history last week.
Just want to mention Arkaka previously was in 16th position when he pit for those hards and has already moved up to 12th, so I think Arkaka is making the most out of those hards at this point in the race. Oh, but Rogue already side by side. Not the best camera angle there, but looks like Rogue was able to get the overtake done, but Arkaka isn't budging much. Almost going into the wall.
This is not what Kitten wants to see. He's made up about 3 seconds while these two are battling. He's not going to have to deal with Arkaka while the Mercedes stayed out, so...
Yeah. Interesting. But if their tires are still feeling great, then might as well keep out there.
Badhad's running relatively quick lap times, though. He's trying to keep the overcut, maybe pull out sometimes. Steve, I think, is really struggling with that lower downforce setup on these soft tires.
Yeah, you wonder how much extra tire wear that lower downforce setup is putting on those soft tires. This is a little bit of Steve gets a little bit squirrely.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Badhad will be in.
Ooh.
Gets it slowed down.
So Rogue gets by RJP at turn 13 at the end of the DRS straight. Very, very ambitious overtake for Rogue.
And pretty much everybody's in the pits.
Yep. Oh, so it looks like Kitten Petter and Arkaka looking to get by RJP.
Kitten Petter's lost quite a bit of time here, so I don't know if the undercut's going to work out for him. We'll see where he comes out. Oh, he's going to be close, but he's going to still be behind Badhad.
So Kitten Petter able to work some magic and get by Arkaka and RJP down that DRS straight. That was a little interesting move. Close call there. But now Kitten Petter.
He's still about 2 seconds behind Badhad, though, so just that little battle, Arkaka and Rogue and RJP, definitely cost him, I think, quite about 2 seconds, I think.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but maybe his tires scrub in now that they're scrubbed in, he should have just that slight advantage over Badhad in pace as we move forward into this race, as he's already closed down on Rogue A-Wing on those 9-lap-old softs. And just a quick glance at the penalties. Young DJ already at 14 seconds. So the top 4 are yet to pit. Everybody else has made their pit stop.
Oh, young DJ.
Oh.
DJ's lost it, and it's a safety car, and wow, so I mean that's huge for, I think, some of these medium guys.
Yeah.
As SRS is serving a penalty.
Oh, Rogue A-Wings drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. So that's unfortunate for him. Steve, unfortunately, missing out on a free pit. Well, I mean, he still will get the free pit stop, but could have dove it, just missing that pit entry by like a corner.
Well, he's gonna have the VSC number, I guess you could say. I can't think of the word.
The Delta.
He's gonna have the Delta still, because he got around before the safety car came out, so he didn't catch the safety car. So all these guys won't necessarily be able to catch up to Steve until right about when Steve goes into the pits. So I don't know if he'll still come out. He probably could come out behind Kitten Petter. It probably won't make that big of a difference. But obviously, if he would have pitted right then and then had the safety car come out, he would probably come out in front of Badhad.
Yeah, that would have been ideal for the Mercedes man. But
did I just say Badhad had a drive-through?
No, it should be Rogue that has picked up the drive-through there, it looked like. So interesting, we've got Google Dougal jumping onto the hards. Arkaka went from hards to softs, so I don't know if those softs will stretch to the end, but they should, considering he's got less fuel load. And we do have a safety car to get through.
Yeah, on the dashboard it says Rumfresh, Kitten, and Badhad all have a drive-through for safety car exceeding allowed pace.
Interesting. I wonder if that's a glitch in the game with the new update. I wonder. I can't imagine they would both. Well, maybe they did both do the same thing. That's very unfortunate if they did. But
I wonder if they can serve it here, though.
Oh, looks like they are trying. Does Kitten Petter just dove?
No, Badhad pitted. So they're gonna have to be able to serve it under green flag circumstances. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Kitten was trying to serve it, and Kitten has just gone on to wets, so that is less than ideal. Unless it's a glitch on my end, but Kitten is sitting on a wet tire
No,
right
I
now.
think he's on wets as well.
Yeah, oh no, that's not what you want.
I think it's interesting though because we don't see that penalty on this game. Like we don't see, they don't have a black and white flag. I guess I can go under race direction and see what's up.
The drive-through penalty?
Yeah.
I can see it when I go over to
It does
penalties.
say he got a penalty.
It
Yeah.
says DT. It says Rogue, Bodhod, and Kitten, as well as Runfresh, all have a DT.
Okay. Yeah.
Dear.
Actually, on mine it says Kitten Petter doesn't on his in the game, but it says Bodhod does.
Interesting. Weird. I wonder if Swarner is in the chat at all. If Swarner can update us. I know Swarner likes to be Kitten Petter's preferred engineer. So I'm curious if he can shed some light on this situation. But yeah, that's very unfortunate. So now Kitten's got to dive into the pit lane again to get off of those wets and get onto some soft tires or...
I mean, he's doing an okay job keeping it off the wall so far.
Well, yeah, that's true. Thankfully, they're going slow enough. It's probably not doing too much damage on those tires and making it undrivable. But I mean, I'm curious to see our Kaka with the Kaka on the softs. We've got Bodhod opted for softs, and so did P-Dog. So that'll be interesting. Looks like we're doing another lap around the track. So we'll look to see Kitten Petter diving the pit lane here. Very cautiously, so he doesn't want to crash, but unfortunate for Kitten Petter. At least the Haas pit crew is out ready for him. There he goes, and he is going on to mediums. But tough go. Alright, so full penalty breakdown. Oh, I guess we'll leave that up too. So P-Dog sitting at 6 seconds. Rumfresh has a drive-through plus whatever else, and then we've got SRS at 3 seconds. HS Maria at 6 seconds. Bodhod and Rogue are supposedly have a drive-through still. Kitten has a drive-through. RJP with 3. Cream Media with 5. And Kaz with 3. The rest of the drivers still clean, which is quite impressive at this stage in the race.
I almost wonder if it's, I'm trying to do some quick research and thought processing, I guess, on the drive-through penalties being handed out. I almost wonder if it was one of those where the safety car came out right when Steve was going by, and it was like, I don't know, one of those things maybe Steve, I don't know, because it would have told Steve to wait behind it if it was out in the track, but yeah, I don't know, that's definitely a head scratcher for me, and it hurts Rogue and Bodhod. Obviously Kitten and Bodhod were 1 and 2, and now are, gonna be in the back, so.
Yeah, very unfortunate. Kitten Petter and Kaz had a little contact. Kitten Petter now is missing an end plate, and was quite a ways off of Kaz in the safety car queue, so I don't know what happened there, but I just saw that Kaz was awarded 5 seconds for the contact, so unfortunate. As Steve is back to full throttle and restart has begun. Getting a lot of the grid.
Oh, they're gonna stack him up. Steve went too early.
Oh, Steve getting a little loose. Tires a little cold. But it looks like Andrew and P-Dog are right on each other's heels. And, oh, Bodhod right on iFunner. Oh, I can't. Spot have some damage or something? He's getting overtaken by Rogue now too. Kitten Petter has retired, unfortunately, from the session. Interesting. Oh, Bodhod looks for a move down the inside, but thinks better of it.
This is pretty much a gift for P-Dog, you know.
Yep.
I mean, he's gonna cash in.
Well, I mean, we have to remember Steve doesn't have any penalties, but otherwise, P-Dog, as long as P-Dog can, well, I guess, Rumfresh has a drive-through to serve still, too, so that makes things quite interesting. Oh, we've got a yellow flag in Sector 2, something going on. P-Dog closing down on Steve. I wonder if those drivers opting for the soft tires are gonna benefit from that tire choice. P-Dog right on the heels of Steve. We've got one more lap till the DRS will be activated. Oh. And Bodhod serving his drive-through right now, as is Rogue. And we'll head back out onto the track. Oh, our Kaka coming up on iFunner. Again, softer tires looking to have the edge and grip early, as they should. But overall, things are pretty spaced out at the moment. Oh, RJP picking up another time penalty.
How long Steve can stay out in front here. Obviously, the softs will have a great advantage, but P-Dog's got a lot of ERS to use right now.
Yeah.
Straight line has just, I mean, P-Dog didn't catch with DRS.
Yeah, that's quite incredible, actually, that Steve was able to keep P-Dog behind him, and hopefully he can get a good. Hopefully, for Steve's sake, he can get a good run out of the final turn. But P-Dog is right there. P-Dog wants P1, but for P-Dog, he needs to get ahead now, and then he needs to start building a lead, because those time penalties are going to come to bite him in the butt, I think, at the end of this race. As P-Dog goes for the move inside and gets the overtake done, but Steve is right.
Steve's gonna battle. Oh, Steve's gonna. What a move around the outside. He's not gonna have the advantage though. I was gonna send it down the inside, but P-Dog too strong with that soft tire grip.
Oh man, I got the worst camera angle for that, and I lost it. I was able to get the end of it, but yeah, Steve, ambitious move for Steve, trying to stay wide at the turn 3 parabolica and go for a move, but in the end, P-Dog on the softs is able to stay ahead. So now P-Dog just needs to push. I think Steve's going to try to charge up the ERS a little bit. Oh, so Rogue is retired from the session as well. Our cock closing down on iFunner. See if he wants to get by him going into turn 13. And no, runs out of road. HS Maria has closed up on Google Dougal. Quiet race for both of those drivers, but Google Dougal, impressive drive for him, all the way up to P5.
Yeah, he's done a great job going for that, I believe, opposite strategy.
I think that's all you can really ask for, but yeah, great drive for him. I think Google Dougal could easily be driver of the day. Here we are. Okay, so Arkaka. Oh, doesn't quite get the job done. We'll hop back over HS Maria. HS Maria and Google Dougal, the closest battle on track at the moment. So we'll follow the AlphaTauri and the Alfa Romeo. Tough go for Kit and Petter and Rogue with some unfortunate incidents in this race and getting those drive-through penalties. And VTech and Young DJ, I believe, both crashing out of the race. So now we're down to 14 drivers remaining.
I don't know. I think P-Dog, you know, even with the penalties, as long as he doesn't pick up anything more, he should be able, I think, to drive up to 6 seconds, possibly. You know, he's already got 3.
Yeah, I think as long as those tires don't fall off, he's got the number of laps if he can keep the pace up. And Andrew's gonna have SRS on his heels here right away. SRS going for a move. No, backside of it. Oh, HS Maria looking for a move down the outside. Oh, chopping Google Dougal. Looks like just a little bit. There's a little bit of contact there. Google Dougal's around.
Oh, RJP's around too.
Oh dear.
Wonder if we'll get a VSC possibly.
Bodhod making a move on Cream Media, P12. So unfortunate for RJP to get collected in that incident with Google Dougal. We'll head back up. Follow SRS around. SRS looking to get on the podium. So right now it's the battle for P3. We're gonna watch that interval for P1. As long as Steve can keep it consistent, Steve's gonna keep it clean. Steve's got his maiden win in AM2 figured out. Arkaka hopefully lining up iFunner for an overtake to get some more points in the championship. Bodhod up to P11 now, on the heels of Kaz. Kaz doing some aggressive defending there. Bodhod, I believe, will get by him here on this front straight as he gets a great release. Bodhod wastes no time taking advantage of the Racing Point driver.
I think Andrew's got just enough pace to keep SRS behind him. Both have about the same amount of ERS. Meanwhile, P-Dog's kind of racing, trying to create that penalty gap.
Yeah. I think P-Dog needs to pick up the pace just a little bit more. I don't know what his last few laps have been, but compared to Steve's, but I feel like if he wants to get out of that 6-second window, he needs to just push just a little bit quicker. Oh, as Andrew and SRS are neck and neck almost here. Oh, why are we looking? Oh, okay, interesting camera angles there. Looking at nothing for a moment, but we are back following the battle for P3. But it looks like Andrew got a great run out of the turn 18. So, and SRS is running quite low on ERS. They both are actually, so I don't imagine an overtake will happen. Arkaka looking to close down on iFighter again. iFighter's done a great job keeping Arkaka behind him, especially on the softer tire. Been quite impressed with iFighter's drive so far this evening. Oh, SRS going a little wide, picking up potentially another warning. He's got to be careful. Oh, Bodhod picking up a 3-second penalty. Up to, so his total is 3. Ooh.
I think it's good though for Bodhod. I mean, one, he's obviously got such a big championship league. It really doesn't, you know, it hurts him. Yes, could he have won this race? Yes, but he's still out there trying to score a few points.
Perry, just sorry to interrupt. P-Dog obviously heard us or he must have, because he has pulled out a second faster since the previous lap, up to 5.4 second gap on Steve right now. So P-Dog has picked up the pace substantially. He wants this win.
And I mean, right now, would give P-Dog 25 points, but most importantly, would pretty much catch him up to second and third. More so third in the championship. He would still be 20 points behind Kittenpetter, but I think he was closer to pretty much about 45 or 50 points, obviously. So, yeah, this would be huge if he could get the win and maybe make it a three-way fight for second in the championship. Andrew as well would create, points-wise, if the result stands as it is now, a gap of about 18 points to Kittenpetter. So, would space out that battle, if you will, for second a little bit.
Well, absolutely. I think that would be great for the championship, and great for us watching, that we get to follow along for an exciting potential battle in the championship, three-way battle in the championship. As Portage Power got a great move done going into turn 1 on HS Maria, so now Portage Power up to P5. These McLaren drivers have had a very solid season so far, consistently up in the top 8 for points. They've done a fantastic job this season. So Arkaka hopefully can get right up there with his teammate. iFunder's done a great job keeping him at bay, though, to this point.
Oh, SRS peeking around the outside of Andrew. Oh, they both run very deep. Well, HS Barrera, he's having a heck of a race, isn't he? Almost up to 5th right now.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's already he's come such a long way since he joined Contest of Speed, and great to see him up there in P6. So as long as penalties don't hurt him too much in the end of it, looks like he might be dropping down a couple spots, down to P8 potentially, but we'll see what happens as we've got 3 laps to go still. And Steve is officially outside of the 6-second window to P-Dog. So now P-Dog
well, he is right now, but the thing is, P-Dog's tires should be falling off. And Steve's tires, I mean, they'll also be old, but most importantly, P-Dog's will be falling off. So, I mean, if Steve can run hard enough, he might be able to keep it within 6 seconds, but I think he's going to have to step it up right now.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, can't settle now.
HS Marrera did get past forward, so on the track he's 5th.
Wow.
With penalties, he could drop quite a ways.
That's impressive.
Here comes Arkaka for 7th. Inside of iFunner. Oh boy, braking super late, Arkaka. But he keeps it stopped in time, then has the inside.
Wow.
Not much iFunner can do on the mediums.
That was an absolutely fantastic overtake by Arkaka. Very gutsy overtake. Oh, is both Arkaka and iFunner getting a little oversteery, but keeping the cars under control. Yes, Arkaka, great move. Up to P7 right behind his teammate. But we'll look to see if iFunner can regain that spot back. Going down the front straight. Oh, iFunner showing down the inside. Ooh. Arkaka, luckily aware that iFunner was showing for a move, and that could have ended in disaster, but thankfully they keep it clean. And Steve and P-Dog just hovering around that 6-second mark. This is going to come.
That's one thing with the penalties is it's pretty obvious to see, you don't really have to explain what P-Dog has to do.
No, absolutely.
I think it's worth noting that Google Dougal, I believe, set the fastest lap, so I don't think we'll see the bonus point.
Ooh. Nice time for Google Dougal. 33.2 for the fastest lap. Ooh, SRS cutting turn 18 quite aggressively.
Like pretty much P-Dog at this point. He's just got to keep it clean. Can't get another penalty.
No,
Pretty
absolutely.
straightforward.
Yeah, quite straightforward, and looks like either P-Dog's gained some pace or maybe Steve had a little bit of a slip up, but 7-second gap now. Andrew and Amram still duking it out. Oh, we've got a car going quite slow. Is that RJP back there, or Google Dougal has retired? It
Google
looks like.
Douglas retired in the pits, yeah.
Yep.
I will say I think P-Dog's only one warning away, so if my math is right, he has 8 warnings. So if he does get another warning, Steve will more than likely win this race.
Ooh, SRS back on the gearbox of Andrew yet again.
If he doesn't need another warning, sorry, if he doesn't need another warning, maybe I'm just overhyping it, but
Well, I mean,
we'll find out.
We're on the final lap, so we'll see. But Amram has really struggles in sector. It looks like SRS really struggles in that third sector because he was right behind Andrew, and then by the time we got to the DRS straight, it was almost at a second gap again. So Andrew's got the advantage there. I wonder if SRS also runs a little bit of a lower downforce setup or something, but Porch Power chasing down HS Maria. Can he get P5? And iFunner wants P7 back as well. But I guess we'll look at the penalties again. So
And pretty much, I think the top 3 will stay good, as well as the top 4. Only HS Murray is really going to lose any spots.
Yep.
He might just lose 1.
Yeah, HS Maria down. Well, yeah. I think you're right. I think he only loses 1.
As P-Dog has won the race.
Oh, there we are. Sorry, we missed it. P-Dog has crossed the line first. Steve P2 and Andrew comes home P3. I think Porch Power is going to jump to P5.
Yep.
And there we go. Oh, who was that? It looks like Bodhat has spun across the start-finish line.
I think it's a little bit of intentional.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rumfresh does get a point. We'll say, so 2 of the guys with drive-thrus at least got a point. So they kept going, obviously. I think it was a little bit more tough for Rogue and Kitten, but...
No, absolutely. Especially once Kitten picked up some more wing damage under that safety car, and I think that was all she wrote for his race. But P-Dog, congratulations on winning the Russian Grand Prix, and congratulations to Steve AMG F1 for filling in and getting a fantastic podium. That was a great race to watch overall. And
all right, I'll get the invites.
We'll get the drivers in to the party for the post-race interviews. Those of you in the chat, love to get your driver of the day votes in there. Oh, Yeah, Rogue's voting Steve for the super sub for driver of the day. I think you could argue P-Dog, and yeah, I think P-Dog could also be driver of the day, considering he jumped up from P17 all the way up to P1. That's a fantastic drive from him. Alright, looks like we've got everybody in here. And we'll get ready for the post-race interviews.
Alright, just standard reminder of make sure your audio is set to share, but I'm sure most of you have it that way. Alright, you good for interviews, Percy?
Sorry?
You good for the interviews?
Sure, yeah.
Alright. We'll start with Andrew in P3. Interesting race, Andrew, but one of those quiet, steady Andrew races where, not really a great, anything that stands out, but obviously had to hold off SRS for most of that last stint. Tell us what your race was like.
Yeah, the race was pretty good. We had decent pace, and you were right, it wasn't very eventful on track, but fortunately after the first stint, when we came out on the yellow tire, there wasn't very much traffic, and I was able to push ahead. And then, yeah, just like I've said sometimes in the past, it was just about keeping it in between the lines, trying to not pick up any penalties. I picked up a 3-second penalty and was trying not to get any more, and just trying to manage the battery and all that stuff while trying to hold off AMRAM. But yeah, no, other than that, another third place finish. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm looking forward to next week again.
Yeah, tell us, was there anything weird? I know, obviously, Kitten and Rogue and Hot and I believe Rumfresh all had a drive-through penalty with the safety car. Was there anything odd on your end in terms of the Delta?
Well, let's see, when the first safety car first came out, there was the Delta, so that seemed all normal, but when the safety car was coming in, I feel like the last 15 seconds before the safety car came in and we were going down the second DRS straight, the Delta came back, and that seemed weird. Right before it said safety car in this lap, but I did notice some of those guys had drive-thrus, and I did think that was strange.
Okay, so yeah, that's what we figured. It probably was a glitch, and so definitely affected the race. But either way, great drive from you, Andrew. You can't control other people's races, and in your own respect, great race as well. Good battle with SRS, and congratulations for the podium.
Thanks, I appreciate it, and congrats P-Dog and Steve on the first and second places.
And you talk about Mr. Consistent's Andrew's 8th podium, so it always feels like he's on there somewhere, and number 8 for Andrew. We'll talk to Steve now, the substitute Mercedes driver, and had a great race. Obviously showed a lot of pace in qualifying up front throughout the race. You kind of got lucky. You stayed out on the mediums and then got the safety car, and with some other issues from other guys, you pretty much had P2 summed up.
Yeah, you've just gone from Mr. Consistent to Mr. Inconsistent here, because I have not scored a single point all season, and I know this isn't my tier, but it's nice to at least have a good result for once. So.
You say you're Mr. Inconsistent, but I believe if you weren't the only guy, you're the only guy really in the points who did not have a single penalty, so drove a great consistent race. Maybe it's the practice from the race the other day to get you set up in the AM2.
Yeah, I did a full distance yesterday and a full practice today as well, so I think I'm just starting to get used to my wheel a little bit now, and the fact that I've turned traction control back onto medium means that I'm not spinning out as much, so I'm actually staying in the race a little bit more and starting to enjoy it a bit more. So we're just taking it from there really, and just trying to find my love for the game again after a manic few months where I just hated everything.
Great consistent drive. obviously deserved P2 spot. Kind of had a hope for P1. Unfortunately, P-Dog with those softs were just able to pull enough of a gap. But obviously, Steve, hopefully this will put you on track for the European tier, and love to see you racing, staying up late for AM2.
Yeah, it just depends. If I'm not working, then I'll happy to substitute. But just want to give a shout out to Gru as well. Hopefully his dog's feeling a bit better as well. Congratulations to P-Dog. Hoping to stay within 6 seconds, but he drove well.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Steve. And obviously, all of us thinking about Grugux King tonight, and hopefully everything's all right in his world. We'll move on to P-Dog now. The winner of the Russian Grand Prix tonight in AM2. This is your second win, third podium at P-Dog, and just an incredible drive, starting 17th after losing it in qualifying on your first lap on the medium tire. I guess had an incredible race, racing your way through the field.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy because I did a lot of practice here and never spun on that curb one time. So in the qualifying, just the first lap, I guess the mediums were just cold and I had no grip, just lost it. And then the beginning of the race, I really didn't make. I wasn't really going after anyone at the start. There was really just a lot of people running wide, and then me gaining off that. And I went from I think 17th to 8th in the first lap. And then it was really about the second safety car was perfect because it came out on, I think, lap 13, and my pit window was 16 for the soft, so I just threw them on when I was in P2. And then I just had to pull the gap to Steve, which made it very difficult, honestly. I thought I wasn't going to be able to.
Well, you had a great drive, and I thought, for a moment there initially, I didn't know if you could do it, but obviously those last 5 laps, you continue to able to keep the softs fresh under temperature and continue to extend that gap. I guess we talk about just starting from the back and what that first lap is like here at Russia. How did you manage on those medium tires those first few laps to continue to run with a lot of the soft runners?
I think it was really about there are a couple corners here that you need to take in a higher gear, and if you don't, it really hurts you. But as well as at the beginning, I think there are a lot of people that caught damage because of there was someone that ran wide in front of me. I know my teammate got run over and then hit the person in front of him, and then it was really about, all right, they were kind of getting out of the way. I just took the racing line, and people were just letting me by. And then I think it was Amaram. It was really weird because I think it was like whenever the safety car came back, it was 3 laps after that, the soft runners were pitting. It was around lap 10. And the guys in front of me were on the sauce were slow, but Amaram was behind me on the sauce and was fast. He was gaining on me, and I was gaining on the guys in front of me. And then they all kind of hit their pit window and went away. So then I jumped all the way up to P2, and that's when all that unfolded.
Yeah, but either way, it had a great race, stayed out of trouble. Got, I think, a little bit lucky, as most of these guys did, with some unfortunate safety car issues with Bodhad and so on. But either way, P-Dog got winner of the Russian Grand Prix. Big points day for you. You get a little bit closer to, quite a bit closer actually, to Kitten for third in points. So big points day for you, and hopefully you can continue to build on that looking ahead.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Well, Burzy, fun race, and I'll let you wrap things up.
Absolutely. Yes, thank you so much, Perry, for doing comms tonight. And it was a fantastic race. Thank you to all of our drivers who came out and raced this evening, and thank you to all of you who have tuned in and have stuck around this long to get to the end of the interviews. Just a reminder for our viewers that you can catch our European tiers at 10 p.m. BST. So we've got our European Tier 1 tomorrow, and then you can catch our American Tier 1 at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then our European Tier 4 will be Thursday at 10 p.m. British Standard Time again. And then if you missed our races earlier in the week, Mondays at 10 p.m. BST, we have our European Tier 3, and then the race that starts the doubleheader on Tuesdays is the European Tier 2s. So thank you so much for tuning in. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, as well as making sure that you are subscribed and all that good stuff to Twitch. And thank you so much. Have a great night.